This video describes resolution and the first steps in importing images into Photoshop. The first thing we need to do is to create a new document. So we're going to go File, New. We want to make sure that as far as presets go, we've got international paper. This will give us a collection of A sizes, and in this case we want A4. And we will stick with the default resolution, which will be 300 pixels per inch. Okay, so now we have our blank document for, in this case, a front cover. So the next thing I want to do is to import an image or place image into this particular file. So if I look at the desktop and open up this image of Wellington boots. This is also a Photoshop document. I know this because it says .psd at the end. So if I double click that. Okay, so to import this image easily, be helpful if the images were side by side. So I can adjust the view rather than having tabs where we alternate or toggle between views. We can actually display both images side by side. If I go Window, Arrange, and in this case I want 2 up vertical. Okay. If we had more images, we'd be able to ask for 3 or 4 images to be displayed at the same time. Okay. So when we look at the image of the Wellington boots compared to our A4 document, the Wellington boots actually look bigger, but this isn't necessarily the case. What I want to describe at the moment is some issues to do with resolution. So if we look at the size of the image for Wellington boots, I'm going to go Image, Image Size. So here you can see we've got a file size of 2.45 megabytes. The resolution here is 72 pixels per inch rather than 300 pixels per inch as in our A4 document. But the actual size of the image is 28.79 centimeters by 37.08 centimeters. Okay, so it can take a bit of time to develop a sense of what that means when you're dealing with different images. So one of the ways we can match the information between the two images is that if we change the resolution to 300 pixels per inch. Okay, so to start off with, I'm just going to select Resample Image so that we'll keep the dimensions in millimeters or centimeters, but we'll increase the resolution. Okay. So when I change this to 300 pixels per inch, you can see that the image size has jumped up to 42.6 megabytes. Okay, that's because the software is adding or attempting to add digital information. Okay, if it does this, it can guess the digital information, colour, edges of lines, etc. But it's always going to be better if we can try and avoid scaling up too much if we can. So if we wanted to get an accurate view of how big this image is, what we can do is that if we don't resample the image and we keep the resolution to 300 pixels per inch, you can see that at 300 pixels per inch the image is actually 6 6.91 centimetres by 8.9 centimetres. Okay, so this is going to give us an idea of the image size when we import it into our A4 document. So I'm just going to OK that. Right, so next thing I want to do is to drag this image over. So I'm going to go to the black arrow at the top of the tool palette, which is the Move tool, and I'm going to click and drag that image over to our new document. Okay, so here in our own A4 document you can see that it's added a new layer and the image looks dramatically smaller than it is here. Okay. What we can do to check is that if we drag this image into the corner, we can see on the rulers that it is just under 7 centimetres wide. So that matches what we had as far as information when we looked at image size. Okay. So I'm just going to drag that back over. Once we've imported this image, we can close the extra image that we don't need. Don't save, and then we can start to manipulate this particular layout.